Seja bem-vindo a mais uma edição do programa Consciência Próspera. Nesta edição, nós entrevistamos o Dr. Eric Peer. Eric Peer é autor do livro A Reconexão. Cure os outros, cure a si mesmo. Um best-seller mundialmente conhecido, publicado em 36 idiomas. Tivemos a oportunidade de gravar com o Dr. Eric Peer aqui em São Paulo e a entrevista ficou super especial. Acompanhe!
Love is a word that has many interpretations and meanings depending upon the context of how it's used and the comprehension of the person using it, their awareness of the application to that context. Love in the healing world, we give it meaning. We impose meaning upon it instead of observing and witnessing a greater understanding. So let's look at the experience of someone who has a life after death experience, a near-death experience where they are clinically dead, they return to that light that we all come from, that we all return to, they come back and talk about it. They speak of love. They speak of love and they explain that we here have no words to describe the love that is experienced there. It is not an emotional love in the way of tears. It is not a needy love in the way of relationships that incorporate jealousy, ownership. It is an existence of relationship with everyone. Everyone. And our essence and our source. Now, to me, the love of healing is that love. We bring it down into the healing world. And then we impose human definition on it. We say if we feel a love for the person we're working with, then we will feel their pain. That's really ridiculous. Feeling someone's pain during the healing process as you are facilitating a healing for them does not allow you to be a pure witness, observer. It's almost like an actor who's supposed to play the role of someone who's drunk. And instead of being in a pure, clean state to truly embody that role to their highest skill, they decide they're going to get drunk instead. And then they can't act. When we're busy feeling the pain of the person on the table, we're taking ourselves out of the role of healer. Healer meaning the person who is both the witness and the witnessed, the seer and the seen, the observer and the observed. We love that person so much that we allow ourselves to detach from their pain. Now, when we come from ego in the healing process, then we say, oh, but I can't help but feel their pain. That's how I know where their problem is. And in actuality, when we transcend the ego, we know that we care enough to not sit there and feel their pain during the healing process because it doesn't serve them. It would be as if you're a parent of young children. You know your children are planning to surprise you on Mother's Day or Father's Day by making a little breakfast for you. So you're patiently waiting in bed, pretending to relax, but one ear is paying attention to every sound that goes on in the kitchen. And then suddenly you hear a little whimper, a little cry, a little scream, and you get the sense that something's wrong. Maybe you even hear the word fire. You hear water splash. You run downstairs because you know if there's a grease fire that's going on, putting water on it is what a child might do, but it will actually spread the fire. You see flames. Your kids are crying and screaming. Do you sit down and indulge yourself in feeling their pain and cry with them? Or do you realize now is the time to keep their best interest in mind, which means you emotionally detach from that situation? You swoop up your kids, you bring them to safety, you call the fire department, and when everything is handled and you know your children are safe, then maybe you indulge yourself in the pleasure, if you choose to use such a word, of holding them, hugging them, and crying with them. As the healing practitioner, it is your responsibility to maintain a state of loving detachment, to be the witness and the witnessed, the seer and the seen, the observer and the observed, to calmly hold the door open for the healing to take place. This is love in the healing world. My greatest belief, my greatest understanding is that this lifetime is not a one-time situation. It's part of a greater picture. That we cycle through many lifetimes as different learning experiences. That there are old souls, there are new souls. That when we leave this physical body, there's more. That we return to a light where there is beauty, peace, love, not boring peace like sitting around on a cloud strumming a harp, but there's comprehension, there's understanding, there's beauty, there's meaning, there's growth, there's experience, there's love. Great love. We understand the things that we didn't understand in life. Why the earth is round, why the grass is green, why the sky is blue. We're given insights and understandings. We realize that there's a reason for everything. And everything makes perfect sense. And we choose, or it is chosen for us, that maybe we return and recycle through different lifetimes for different lessons. We understand that Earth is a place of learning, that war is a temporary state of barbarism that we will move beyond. We understand that there's nothing for which to blame God, because blame is not an applicable word. even for horrible things that seem to occur. We understand there's more. We understand we're part of a bigger picture. And in knowing that we're part of this bigger picture, we want to do an even better job each and every lifetime that we go through. There's not an end. This is my belief. Now the question that I was asked is, what is my greatest belief and what is my greatest doubt? I'm going to shift that a little bit. I'm going to change doubt to what is my greatest fear. My greatest fear are that my perceived realities might not be. I remember one day when the healings had started, I was on my way to my office. I was leaving my house. I was facing the front door of my house. I was setting the alarm system. And I wondered, is this real? I mean, I'm waving my hands in the air over my patients. Their bodies are moving. Sometimes voices are coming through them. They're having dramatic healings. It is so different than my perceived reality had been up to that point that I remembered thinking, maybe it's an illusion. Maybe I'm in a coma somewhere in a hospital. Maybe I've been in a bed for months. Maybe friends are visiting me and I'm on life support tubes and I'm living in an illusion. And then I remembered when I was a very young child, I remember that I had had a bad dream, as children have bad dreams. And I knew I was dreaming. But I was still having that bad dream. It was very frightening. And I told my mother about the experience that day after I had awakened. And she said to me, next time you're having a bad dream, if you know that it's a dream, blink your eyes 3 times really hard, and the third time hold them wide open until you wake up. And you'll wake up. And I have to tell you, I did that when it happened. And it works. It's a great thing. If you have a child with bad dreams, tell them this. It really works. So there I was facing the front door of my house where none of my neighbors could see me. I thought, what if I'm in a coma somewhere? This whole thing that is so beautiful, so exquisite, that has taken over my life is just an illusion. I'm in a hospital bed. How do I know this? So I blinked my eyes 3 times, and on the third time I held them wide open really hard. I didn't wake up. So either this is not a dream, or if it is, you're in the dream with me. My biggest fear is that all of what has been going on with reconnective healing isn't real. That it's a dream or an illusion or something taking place and I'm in a bed in a coma somewhere. Because it's so beautiful, it's so exquisite, and it's so important as I perceive it and as I see it spreading. That would be my fear. My other fear is that I've been given this responsibility to share the consciousness of this work, to spread the awareness of this healing, to get it to a point where it's sufficiently recognized on this planet. So when I do leave my body, it continues. To get it sufficiently understood on this planet. So when I do leave this body, the people practicing the work don't start to worship the golden calf, metaphorically. Don't all say, and now we're going to add healing techniques and healing toys and trinkets and wands and pendulums, etc. My greatest fear is, what if I don't do my job well enough? Those are my greatest fears. Consciousness is a multi-tiered word, because when we think of being conscious, we think of being cognizantly aware. There is consciously aware of something, which means you recognize it's going on. That's cognizant awareness. There is consciousness, which is a universal intelligence and awareness, which is not only within what we consider life form as human beings. And of course, here there's a debate as to whether or not animals are conscious or fish are conscious, because a lot of people with a very limited perspective feel that only human beings are conscious, feel that only human beings have souls, feel that only human beings think. And you can't really observe animals consciously, cognizantly, and not recognize that's within them also. Consciousness is an awareness and an interaction of information, of what's going on. Information and interaction occurs everywhere. Even in seemingly inanimate objects, such as a rock. A rock couldn't hold its molecular shape without some form of an informational exchange. Now, at what point does that informational exchange become what we acknowledge or recognize as being conscious? What tells a living plant in a pot, if you turn it away from the sun, what tells that plant to rotate back and face the sun again? There's an informational exchange. Is it consciousness on a level that we don't recognize? What allows fish to swim in schools? Birds to fly in flocks in perfect formation. And yet we will see jet fighters. We'll see jet fighters in planes mimic the formation of the birds. And we'll say, yes, but humans have greater consciousness. And yet, birds may do it with greater perfection. Sometimes we are not aware of our consciousness. We say, well, this person is not aware of anything, or they've been in a hospital bed in a coma, so they haven't been conscious. And yet afterwards, we hear that they were aware of what was going on around them. And others were not aware. So I think what happens is we confuse consciousness with being on or off, depending upon whether the consciousness is a cognizant, aware consciousness, or whether it's a universal intelligence, a consciousness on a greater plane, a non-verbal communication. It's a fascinating concept. It's a fascinating concept. I would love to be able to say, here's the answer. But I don't know the answer. I don't know how to define it. We're limited by our four-dimensional linear languaging, and this is a concept that is not limited to four-dimensional lineality. This is a concept that is not limited to 4 dimensions or to being linear. It's by far more multidimensional. And the discussion of it enhances our consciousness because it gives us growth, because our growth here, at least in this 4-dimensional plane, does not come so much from the answers as much as it comes from the seeking of the answers. It doesn't come so much from the answers as much as it does from the discussion of the questions themselves. And the discussion of question enhances consciousness. The relationship between spirituality and the energy of money well, you see, there's no separation from spirituality and anything. There's no separation between spirituality and energy. We distance ourselves from spirituality when we don't allow ourselves to see spirituality in everything. Recognizing that the exchange of money is an exchange of energy, is an energy flow, then the energy of money stays fairly neutral. We place positive charge or negative charge depending on our perspectives. We quote the Bible. We misquote the Bible. Most often misquoted around money is the quote that says, "The love of money is the root of all evil." Most people don't quote that properly. Most people misquote it and they say, "Money is the root of all evil." The Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. I'm not sure how accurate that is either. I don't know how the love of anything is the root of evil. Now, I believe I understand what was meant by that quote. I believe I understand what was meant by that quote. That the hoarding of money, the desire to own and hold on to money, is the root of evil. It certainly has been the root of evil in a lot of situations throughout time and throughout the ages. And yet, if we see the larger picture, the love of money is what inspires us to share the money that we have, to purchase, which of course helps the economy, which allows us to receive, which allows us to contribute, which allows us to receive, which allows us to contribute, and continues the cycling. The ebb and flow, the infinity concept is a giving and a receiving and a cleansing. Think of the waters. Rains come down. They fill the oceans, the rivers, the streams, the lakes, the tributaries. They nourish the planet. The water is clean as it flows through the rocks. It evaporates back up to the clouds. It comes down again. It cleans the atmosphere. Stopping that flow becomes the problem. We often say we love to give. Love to give. And we say it proudly, as if we're special. It's a badge of honor. In reality, everyone really loves to give. The awkwardness comes around receiving. Gracious receiving. That's an acquired skill. When we say we love to give to the degree that we only give, we're not giving at all, because we are actually taking away the ability for the other person in the exchange with us to enjoy that same pleasure that we love, to be giving in return. It's a very big problem in the healing field. Healing practitioners, many healing practitioners are afraid to be in fair financial, monetary exchange for the healings that they share. They don't realize that if we don't allow for the other person to give in return, that they don't allow themselves to receive the full value of the gift of the healing. We don't realize that if we don't allow ourselves to receive in return, we can't continue to support ourselves in the healing realm so that we can go forward day after day, all day, every day, earn our livings by facilitating healings for others. So we have to take a job that might not make our hearts sing. We have to take a job that might not fulfill our inner goal, that might not be the direction of our inner compass, and then only do an occasional healing here or there. When in reality, if our purpose is to live our lives where we can touch as many people as possible with healing day in and day out, then we have to realize that we do have to allow ourselves to receive so that we're able to continue to give. You know, on the airplanes, when the plane is about to take off and they're giving instructions, if you make it past the part where they're still trying to teach you how to buckle the seatbelt, the next part is they talk to you about the oxygen masks. They say, when the oxygen mask drops, please place the mask on yourself before helping the others around you. Because if you don't place the mask on yourself, you might not live long enough to help as many people around you. If we don't allow ourselves to receive, we might not be able to continue moving forward, helping as many people as our potential would otherwise allow for us. Money and spirituality. Ice cream and spirituality. Anything in spirituality. The spiritual person sees spirituality in everything. Many people look for the meaning in their lives and they research it logically. We have logic, we have emotion. Logic is no match for emotion. I don't know that we'll find the answer to what is the purpose of our life from logic. I think it's not from our brain. I think we have to feel it in our stomach, in our gut. I think we have to remember the moments that we felt the most alive and the happiest as children. I believe that we are here to discover compassion. As I often say, to recognize that when one child cries in one part of the planet, 100 children weep in another. When one child laughs, 1,000 children laugh. That we are that connected. To recognize that we really are all one, and to see ourselves in others. To learn. To look consciously for what makes you and I the same. But our purpose in our life, I think we find most fulfillingly, comes from what allows us to contribute. Our nature is to help one another in different ways. You know, when I was growing up, I used to think, what's the purpose of life? I looked around and, you know, people were born, they grew up, they got married, they had kids who grew up, got married, and kids who grew up, got married, and had kids. It was just seemed to be a cycle. I remember going through school and they offered me a list of potential careers, and none of those careers seemed like something I wanted. I found something that seemed to make sense when I went into chiropractic, a natural way of allowing the body to heal. I didn't realize at the time it would throw me further onto this course that I'm on right now. I think a lot of people go through life doing what they think they should be doing. Just like when we talked about birds know when to fly north and when to fly south, they have an inner compass. We have an inner compass. It's our heart. I believe, and I know that lucky and fortunate are not popular words in the conscious arena of today. but I'm going to use them because they have meaning. I believe that if we're fortunate, we allow ourselves to discover our life's purpose. I believe that if we're truly fortunate, or courageous as well, we allow ourselves to live our life's purpose. Our life's purpose is contribution. Different forms, different ways, different people. Now for me, my life's purpose, and see, life's purpose, nothing is stagnant, everything evolves. My life's purpose was stepped into when these healings started happening, and I was facilitating these healings. Day in, day out, 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. And then my life's purpose evolved as I began to teach others how to do these healings. Now, for many people, their life's purpose is healing. To bring about healing for others. And I'm using healing in a relatively narrow meaning. Because healing really is more than regaining the use of an arm or a leg or a liver or a kidney or vision or hearing. Healing is our evolution. But let's take healing the way most people think of it right now. For many people, it is to work one-on-one with others as healers. In this realm, energy healers. Great. But people become doctors, dentists, chiropractic doctors, osteopathic doctors, medical doctors, nurses, physical therapists, taking prescribed routes that they find acceptable, putting on the white jacket and the clothes, and wearing the costume that allows them to be the healer that they really are on the inside. For others, journalists, for example, we interview people who talk about consciousness and healing. And in that way, people who watch and listen to or read the interviews, they receive their healings, and you as the journalist is the healer. Mothers, as well as fathers, are healers. Everyone's a healer. Being a healer may very well be, in its broadest meaning of evolution, a life purpose applicable to everyone. And we just put on different disguises to deliver that healing. What's our life's purpose? How do we find it? The compass is internal. If you tolerate your job, your profession, your career, you might not be living your life's purpose. Your heart knows. What makes your heart sing? I'm not saying don't weigh and evaluate the situation with logic also, but don't make the choice from logic. Make the choice from your internal compass. I wrote the book most commonly known as The Reconnection. I remember the day I was sitting down with people talking about what should the title of the book be. Should it be Reconnective Healing? Should it be The Reconnection? These were people in combination with marketing consciousness, with spiritual consciousness. They liked the sound and the feel of the reconnection. And of course, the publisher believed it should have a title and a subtitle. So the subtitle was debated. Should it be Heal Others, Heal Yourself, or Heal Yourself, Heal Others? Now at the time, self-healing was a predominant level of consciousness. Me, self, heal me, all about me. But the way this work made its presentation, it was healing others. There was still the cycle of it. We decided to put heal others first. So the focus would be on heal others. And then follow it with heal yourself so that people would be receiving what they were looking for. But it just as well could have gone the other way. It's not which comes first in a cycle of infinity. It's more about the relationship and the consciousness. This is a time where we are here to learn compassion. Again, how do we learn compassion? By seeing ourselves in others. What are we taught? Not to see ourselves in others. We are taught to say, what makes my little Johnny special? And we say, Johnny, you are special and unique and you are different than everyone else because of this and this and this. And Johnny starts to pride himself on what makes him special and unique. We don't do this only with individuals. We do this with nationalities, religions, races. We tell our children they're special because they are black, white, or Asian. You're special because you're Irish, Italian. You're special because you're Brazilian, not Portuguese, or Portuguese, not Brazilian. We have the t-shirts that say, kiss me, I'm Jewish, kiss me, I'm Catholic, kiss me, I'm this, that, or the other. We are afraid to look at others and ask, what makes you and I the same? We don't think about it because we hide that question behind fear. The rays of the sun individually come down onto the planet. But each ray of the sun contains an infinite number of holograms of the sun. They're all and each fully representations of the sun here on Earth. Think of us as human beings as rays. Each of us contain an infinite number of holograms of, use the word God, use the word love, intelligence of the universe. When we start to see that we are each total representations of this God consciousness here on earth, we start to recognize that we are one and the same. But we fear being the same because we're afraid we will lose our individuality, because we believe our individuality is our identity. And yet, our identity might only be fully manifested when we recognize that we are part of the greater whole. Our thoughts, our consciousness, our choices, our decisions, our actions tend on a relatively foundational or base level to come either from fear or love. Fear, lack, the illusion of limitation, of darkness, of separation, the need for judgment and control. Or from love, light, oneness, unity, prosperity, abundance. And fear and love appear to be opposites. And opposites appear to be unrelated. But are they? What really is fear, except the fear of not being love itself? And as we reach inside and touch our truth, our inner knowingness, then what really is fear? If we recognize that our existence itself, our essence itself is love, then the only thing we truly fear is non-existing. August 21st through the 25th, we will bring the new training program here to Sao Paulo for reconnective healing. What will happen is, on Friday night, August 21st, we'll give a 3-hour presentation where we speak about the history of the work, the theory, the philosophy, the science. We'll bring up volunteers from the audience and give live demonstrations of the healings, and we'll give you and everyone there the opportunity to feel this in your hands, and we'll begin to teach you how to work with it. We'll continue, for those of you who are taking the level 1 and 2 of the training program, teaching you how to do this through Saturday and Sunday, August 22nd and 23rd. So let's say, for instance, that you attend the seminar. What will happen is I'll demonstrate a level of the work from the stage. Then we'll all go to massage tables. So you might stand at the head of a massage table. Someone else will lie down on the massage table in front of you. The teaching assistants and I will come around. We'll take your hands. We'll show you how to find these frequencies, how to feel them, how to play with them, how to work with them. And you will witness right in front of your very eyes the person on your massage table go into involuntary movements of their fingers, their arms, their legs, their eyes. Then you'll trade places with them so that you get to experience it while they're working with you. And by the way, the entire seminar is simultaneously translated into Portuguese via headsets, and many of our teaching assistants are native Portuguese language speakers, so you don't need to understand a word of English, and I don't need to understand too many words of Portuguese. The level 1, that Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, will teach you how to use this work on a personal level. Basically, self-healing and how to assist in the healing process. You'll learn the beginnings of reconnective healing to help others, let's say, in your immediate close circle of friends and family. If you choose to learn this at its highest level, at its professional level, what is called the foundational level, then you will continue on that Monday and Tuesday August 24 and 25. Now, this does not mean that you need to become a professional healing practitioner, but isn't it wonderful for you to have those skills just to share with your family and friends, or should you choose to become a professional? We will bring in people from outside the seminar so you can begin your very first professional sessions right there with people, members of the public who might not even know what to expect, most of them. We'll teach you how to do this via distance. We'll teach you how to work holographically. We'll teach you aspects of subtlety and nuance, which will bring about dramatic changes in your healings. The training program is very new now. It's very much expanded. You have much more time on the tables, much more time with question and answer, much more time to assimilate the learning, and we have many more things we've introduced into the educational process to teach you how to become ultimately familiar, aware, confident in this work, the doing of it, and the speaking about it. And by the end of Tuesday, August 25th, I can pretty much make you two promises, which are: one, you will be able to do anything and everything in the way of healing that I can do, and two, you will be able to do anything and everything in the way of healing that any human being anywhere on this planet can do. Any way whatsoever in this realm of energy healing and beyond. What makes reconnective healing so much more comprehensive than our energy healing techniques? The healing so fairly immediate, and generally not only immediate, but generally lifelong. You'll be able to do anything and everything in this field that anyone can do, whether they were raised by monks in a cave in a mountaintop in Tibet, whether they've mastered 33 different techniques, whether they work out of a church in a far-off location, as long as we recognize that the requirement to access this larger, fuller, more comprehensive spectrum of healing is that we let go of the external. We let go of techniques, rituals, protections, fear-based processes, control mechanisms, and we step in to the wonder and the willingness of allowing the perfect intelligence of whether you call it God or love or the universe to orchestrate the perfect healings for ourselves and for others. For more information, obviously, you can go to, just like the book is called The Reconnection, Heal Others, Heal Yourself, you can go to thereconnection.com, and I believe there's a little button you can hit that will translate into Portuguese for you.